In 1994, a Chinese factory manager smashed thousands of her own company's products in public. This wasn't sabotage, it was a declaration of war against poor quality. That factory was Gree Electric, and the woman was Dong Mingzhu, later called the Iron Lady of China. Today, Gree is reported to be the world's largest air conditioner maker, responsible for about a quarter of all residential units sold globally. This video showed how one woman changed both the product and the company itself, turning Gree into a hidden global force. People often imagine a global leader as someone trained early or connected to power. Dong Mingzhu was not. In her mid-30s, a widow with a child, she joined Gree around 1990 as a junior salesperson. She knew little about air conditioners, had no network, and entered a factory in trouble. She relied on discipline and persistence. Gree was small, in debt, and known for breakdowns. Dealers avoided its product to protect their own reputations. Many on the sales team treated it as a temporary job. Dong saw a path. She focused on dealer trust and decided to earn it one visit at a time. She went straight to hard targets. She revisited buyers who had said no and brought data on performance and reliability. Dealers noticed her notes and clear explanations. Rejection didn't stop her. She kept returning until they listened. That consistency separated her from colleagues who quit after one refusal. One case defined her. A major client withheld payment. Dong stayed on site for 40 days until the debt was paid. Others would have written it off. She recovered the money, and the story spread inside Gree. People saw she could protect sales and cash flow. Management couldn't ignore her. Skepticism remained. She was older than many starters and worked in a male-dominated relationship-heavy market. She had no family backing. What she had was output. When others clocked out, she kept calling. When they took holidays, she visited dealers. Her results grew until management faced a fact. Her numbers were keeping Gree afloat. By the mid-1990s, she became head of sales. It was quick, but it was earned. She brought in contracts, collected payments that seemed lost, and convinced dealers to keep ordering a brand many viewed as risky. She replaced doubt with results. The job changed the problem. Selling more wouldn't fix weak trust. Every breakdown threatened weeks of work and reinforced the view that Gree was unreliable. Dealers held back, worried about their own names. Growth needed more than field effort. The brand's weakest point had to be fixed. Why would the head of a struggling factory order thousands of its own air conditioners destroyed? That was the question inside Gree when Dong Mingzhu made one of her boldest early moves. At the time, Gree's machines failed often. Breakdowns landed on dealers, who had to face angry customers and handle returns. Trust was thin, and each failure made it worse. Defective units piled up in warehouses. When any slipped into the market, it confirmed the fear that Gree's products were not worth buying. Many leaders would have pushed the inventory out to hit short-term sales. Dong chose the opposite. Selling bad stock would poison future demand. If Gree wanted a future, it needed a clean break, even if it looked harmful in the short term. She ordered the units back, stacked them, and had them destroyed in plain view. Workers watched their own products taken apart. Managers said sales were already scarce. Investors called it reckless, given the company's debt. Dong did not bend. She said the action was about trust. By breaking defective stock publicly, she showed the company would take a loss rather than betray dealers and customers again. In a market where defects were often hidden, this stood out. Her view was simple. Preparation and hard work start with honesty. Inside Gree, reactions split. Executives and shareholders felt embarrassed and feared the loss of a final lifeline. Outside, dealers saw a signal. The company would protect their reputations. Orders didn't surge, but some returned. Customers noticed the accountability and began to believe that quality would be enforced. The effect grew in the following months. The destruction drew a line. Poor quality would not reach buyers. On the factory floor, the message was clear. Speed alone no longer counted. A substandard unit risked being scrapped. Managers tightened checks. Production added controls to catch flaws. A new culture formed. Quality as a condition for survival. The image of smashed machines carried beyond that day. It marked the start of a culture shift that set up the next step. Most electronic makers depend on suppliers. They buy core parts, assemble them, and ship the final product. It looks efficient, but it hands control of cost, quality, and speed to others. For Gree, already hurt by early failures, that risk was too high. Dong said they couldn't build a new reputation on parts they didn't control. The answer was vertical integration. Instead of buying compressors, motors, and control boards, Gree built the capacity to make them. Compressors are the core of an air conditioner and require tight precision. Small errors cause noise, wasted power, or breakdowns. Making them in-house let Gree inspect each step, improve designs, and standardize output. The same logic applied to electronics. By designing and producing control boards and chips, they chose how the machine behaved rather than accept generic parts. This control enabled steady progress. A key milestone was an inverter system that could run at 1 Hz, rather than switch on and off, which wastes energy and wears parts. It could hold an ultra-low speed while working. Users saw lower power bills, and the units lasted longer. It wasn't a single miracle. It was the result of owning the most important parts. Scale made the plan workable. Gree expanded R&D with thousands of technicians and large annual investment. Step by step, they mastered each component. Small gains added up. Quieter airflow, better coatings against corrosion, smoother control logic. Because labs and factories sat under one roof, ideas moved faster into production. If a new design showed risks, engineers didn't need to renegotiate with suppliers. They coordinated across systems and changed the design on their own timeline. Each improvement made the next one easier. The loop between development and production became a core strength. Rivals shipped good products, but many relied on long supplier chains. When raw material prices rose or shipping delays hit, they had little room to react. Gree could adjust timing, cost, and design internally. Removing suppliers gave them flexibility others lacked. The shift also changed Gree's place in the market. Vertical integration turned them into a component supplier. Their compressors, motors, and control units shipped as OEM parts to other brands. An air conditioner in Europe or the US might carry a well-known logo, while key parts came from a Gree line in Zhuhai. This quiet role gave Gree real influence. When Gree advanced a technology, the impact spread through the supply chain and lifted expectations elsewhere. Global expansion rarely happens quietly, yet Gree did it with little notice. In the 1990s, the company looked beyond China's unstable home market. In 2001, it built a plant in Brazil, where tariffs made imports too expensive. Local production cut costs and opened South America. Next came a factory in Pakistan, giving access to South Asia and the Middle East. These were targeted moves. Brazil for tariff relief, Pakistan for a hot growing market. Step by step, capacity grew far from home. Going abroad added complexity. Air conditioners had to match local conditions. In coastal Brazil, humidity caused corrosion, so Gree added anti-rust coatings. In South Asia, dust clogged filters, so they redesigned them. In places with unstable grids, they reinforced electronics to handle blackouts and voltage spikes. Each change was practical. Complaints fell, returns dropped, and the machine earned a reputation for lasting longer. These local tweaks became an edge. While others shipped standard models, Gree won trust by delivering units that worked in daily use. In the US and Europe, another barrier appeared: recognition. Shoppers trusted familiar names. Gree chose to stay behind the scenes, signing OEM deals to produce units under other brands. On the outside, the logo was known. Inside, the compressors and controls were Gree's. This stealth entry earned profits and reach without massive ad spend. At the same time, Gree expanded in emerging markets where its own name could compete. Plants in places like Egypt and a wider footprint in Southeast Asia shortened supply chains, bypassed tariffs, and reduced delays. The scale is large. Gree sells in more than 160 countries, with production on several continents, either through OEM badges or unfamiliar branding. The result is the same. Gree systems cool millions of homes. Gree no longer needed rescue. With global grown in place, Dong Mingzhu focused on what Gree should become beyond air conditioning. She spoke of a 100-year enterprise that could outlast leaders, enter new fields, and show that Chinese manufacturing could move from low-cost production to respected global design. Air conditioners were a launchpad, not the finish line. She kept pushing into adjacent areas: smart home devices, industrial automation, and AI-driven factories. She argued the future was connected systems with self-adjusting production. Staying only an appliance maker risked being left behind. Each new step raised the same question: long-term vision or risky spread? Her public profile grew. She became one of China's most visible executives and served as a national legislator. She pushed for higher quality standards and argued domestic brands could earn global respect. Inside Gree, many saw her as a symbol of discipline and persistence, not just a manager. Concerns remained about concentrated authority. Even supporters noted that Gree's identity is tightly linked to her. She reshaped the company and opened new doors. Yet questions about power concentration and leadership transition persist. Her goal is a century-long brand, respected for both products and principles. Whether Gree can achieve that without her is still uncertain.
我们去年我们的利润接近150亿，我们的税收也是保证了150亿。当一个企业不能给国家纳税的时候，你能称之为你是好企业吗？我看不可能。你说，哎呀，国家减免税，不要税，你更好。但是我们的国防建设呢？我们民众的公共设施改善呢？多少需要财政的地方？他们靠什么？就要靠我们的实体经济。中国要想成为强国，必须要靠实体。美国的金融危机，2008年的灾难，我们是看到了。我们今天明明看到这样的现象，我们还要跟到后面去做这样的事，那是极少各部分人得利。我认为它对中国是一个破坏性的。